Welcome everyone to today's Citrix webinar featuring Complete Communications on better connectivity at a lower cost, the business case for SD-WAN. My name is Carol and I'm your moderator today. If you have any questions for our speakers during the presentation, please submit them through the Q&A tab in your webinar console. Today's webinar is being recorded and a link to the presentation and the presentation deck will be sent to you after the webinar. Also, please make sure you stay till the end of the webinar where we'll be telling you how you can win an Ember Temperature Control Smart Mug. Now let's get started. Today's presenters are Jamel Buck, Senior SD-WAN Sales Specialist at Citrix, Blake Darling, President at Complete Communications, and Greg Nichols, Head of Value Engineering at Citrix. Now, before I present our first speaker, we wanted to launch a poll of our audience. So if you could please take a look at your screen and answer this question for us. What is triggering your move to SD-WAN? Is it digital transformation, moving apps to the cloud, the need for resiliency, need for more bandwidth, or existing WAN contracts that are up for renewal? Keep in mind you can select more than one. We'll give everyone a couple of seconds to answer. We'd like to get at least about 60% of our audience voting, so come on, guys. Once again, what is triggering your move to SD-WAN? All right, it looks like we got about over 60% of the vote, so let's go ahead and close and share. And it looks like we are showing 38% of you said digital transformation projects, 75% voted moving apps to the cloud, 38% also said a need for resiliency and bandwidth, and about 50% of you also selected existing WAN contracts up for renewal. Great information. Thanks everyone for sharing. And now I'd like to go ahead and present Jamel, who will do our first part of our webinar. Jamel.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and I'd like to run through what we got today in terms of addressing the business case for SD-WAN. We'll start with a brief introduction of Citrix SD-WAN and its benefits, quantifying the cost savings and ROI for SD-WAN, assessing the benefits of an SD-WAN solution with your overall business, and we'll run through the Q&A. Citrix first launched its first generation of SD-WAN with Cloud Bridge in 2015. To date, we have more than 1,800 customers in over 77 countries. We support a large variety of verticals: healthcare, banking, and finance. We leverage our strong global MSP partners for implementation of full managed services. Today, we also have one of our largest deployments with a global financial firm, which has 4,300 sites and locations. People wonder why Citrix SD-WAN. What's been true to us is we deliver an always-on 24/7 WAN uptime, and we do so with our packet-based technology, bidirectional app control, 100% of voice quality, which is we know today is very critical, leveraging our packet duplication, and of course, leveraging intelligent security with the integrated firewall, strong encryption, key rotation, and adhering to NIST compliance, which is very important for a lot of our government customers. We give you a full choice of cloud providers, be it AWS, Azure, Office 365, or Google Cloud. And we are able to deploy this with our easy deployment and zero touch and manage it essentially for our central management solution. Citrix SD-WAN helps modern businesses keep up with the pace of digital and succeed in their transformation. We do this by offering the best application experience and performance for SaaS, cloud, and virtual applications, comprehensive security with protection for applications, the network and cloud, a choice of flexible deployment options to automate connectivity to the cloud. All of this helps businesses deliver an always-on workspace experience that maximizes productivity and customer satisfaction. The meat of why why we're here today is really understand what is the value of SD-WAN, what are the business drivers, and what are the benefits. This is really going to help us drive home why we're here today. You know, as we see, as some of the in the poll, we talked about what are some of the things that are driving today. It's the organic growth, the merger acquisitions, user experience, reduce costs to maximize value, which is kind of a no-brainer. So why the point of the conversation? Outdated infrastructure. What do we do to replace and do a tech refresh or WAN refresh? And then, as we talked about before, new applications for business and moving those applications to the cloud. Some of the use cases that we see that are quite critical today are things such as local internet breakout. These are critical to help user experience and get away from outdated infrastructure, because today our users are not sitting in offices, things are not being backhauled to the data center. And as we know today, everyone's working from home, so the local internet breakout is very critical today. We also allows you to fully utilize investments, which improves user experience and maximizes value. Internet links are no longer backups to MPLS or a primary internet link. They're used fully to increase overall bandwidth and throughput. New branch edges, which is very interesting today because we see the new branch edges people's homes, right? Our new branch edges where we are today. Some of us are at home, some of us are at another remote location or in a Starbucks or outside of Starbucks these days. And also adding redundancy, user experience, maximize value, limiting disruptions, which is critical because we have now pushed the WAN edge so far out that it's very important to make sure we limit as many disruptions as possible. This is similar to fully utilizing multiple links to provide high availability. So what can we leverage? Be it the MPLS, be it direct internet access, be it a broadband, LTE, or what's available to you at the time. Other use cases such as improving performance, user experience, and especially for apps that are sensitive to jitter loss like VoIP and VDI. As we speak today, everyone's using things such as Jabber or any type of a hosted voice solution to be able to communicate and speak and present with customers to continue to drive business and to continue to be always on. The other challenge is servicing. How do we service difficult locations? A lot of us have those extended branches. Again, as we said, those branches are now in people's homes, but for those that are in finance or manufacturing, you have branches that are really far out. So how do you leverage those? How do you extend the service to those difficult locations? This can help address growth in merger and acquisition. This speaks to our ability to use broadband or LTE, as I mentioned before, where other links aren't available. Some of our key differentiations of SD-WAN for Citrix is our application experience, which is driving what we're doing with how the world is doing business today. We deliver secure and reliable app delivery, leveraging an always-on app experience, driving our Microsoft partnership that we've been long a part of. We've been first to market with Azure. We deliver an automated Azure on-ramp, and we've been first to be certified for Office 365. We deliver cloud orchestration for speed and operational consistency. We integrate comprehensive security services to ensure protection and application delivery. We deliver high performance and resilient SaaS app connectivity with Cloud Direct. This helps address internet variability and unpredictability. And more importantly, we also are able to deliver best app experience with deep visibility and optimization, especially for those existing Citrix customers, leveraging our integration with ICA protocol and CVAD admin workflows. Citrix SD-WAN helps you deliver the best performance for SaaS, cloud, and virtual apps. Competing solutions can only provide visibility at the application or protocol level, or they may require an additional product for these capabilities. The Citrix application control engine is built into our SD-WAN and can recognize individual applications, especially when it comes to HDX, the protocol used for Citrix virtual apps and desktops. In fact, we're able to detect, classify, and accelerate over 4,500 individual applications. Additionally, this works alongside our deep packet inspection, which enables us to accurately determine what type of traffic is going over the network and optimize it. We have automatic quality of service that allows us to prioritize certain types of applications based on policies. We have WAN optimization for compression and deduplication that also saves bandwidth. Additionally, we offer application proxies which accelerate certain types of traffic. All this allows Citrix to uniquely help deliver IT the best always-on digital workspace experience. This digital workspace experience allows you to achieve your new era of work objectives with Citrix as a partner. for your business continuity and remote work world. We help you connect your at-home workforce quickly and reliably at scale, ensure quality application for every home worker, remain secure and connected always, make Citrix virtual apps and desktops better for every worker, and more importantly, maintain visibility and control at scale. Citrix SD-WAN is delivered securely, giving you a choice of on-prem and cloud security solution via our hosted next-generation firewall partners or via our cloud-ready partners. As you can see, I can speak about SD-WAN and the business of SD-WAN all day long. And like most of our customers, many of you are just talking about the business value, but many of you have to figure out a way to pay for it. And our partner, Blake Darling from Complete Communications, will speak with you about that shortly. But before I pass it on to Blake, let's do another poll. Carol?
Thanks, Jamel. So in your presentation, you mentioned a little bit about work from home, and we've definitely seen that the work from home trend that's happening right now is renewing a lot of interest in SD-WAN. So we wanted to ask the audience if they had to pick one of their biggest challenges that they're seeing with their work from home IT, what would that be? So we ask if you could select one of the answers you see here. So are you seeing internet affecting app performance as your number one challenge, the lack of security from your VPN, the lack of scalability, an increased spend in employee communication and collaboration, sorry about that, got cut off, and then increased strain on bandwidth and network capacity. So we know all of these are challenges, but if you had to pinpoint one, is there one that stands out more than the rest? We'll give you a couple more seconds to vote, and then we'll share the results. All right, let's see, we're almost at about 50. Come on, let's get to 60% of the audience. All right, it looks like we've got a good quorum. Let's see, share what we got. About 55% of you said internet app performance was number one. And then the other, look at that. It looks like the second most popular at 45% was increased strain on bandwidth and network capacity. Thanks, everyone, for voting. And now I'll go ahead and pass it on to Blake. Blake?
Great. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with everybody today, and looking forward to answering questions and showing how SD-WAN can bring significant cost savings to your organization. Let me I share my screen here. Okay, there we go. So, you've joined the call here today to learn about how SD-WAN can impact your organization from a technological standpoint, but from the business case standpoint. There's many rumors out there, and understanding in the marketplace now that, hey, SD-WAN has the capabilities to potentially save me some money on the WAN, but no quantifiable evidence, as well as a service provider isn't going to sell SD-WAN via an ROI methodology, and that's the way that much of the SD-WAN purchasing in the marketplace is taking place by and through service providers for some of the value add they bring to the table, but also from a lack of visibility on what is possible. And when you leverage a transport agnostic solution like a Citrix offering brings to the table, you can see significant cost savings on the WAN. And from an IT standpoint, you know that it's critical. You know that it's critical today that not only do you improve efficiencies and operational, better your experience from an operational standpoint, but it's also critical that you build an ROI. You can't just buy technology today. You have to be able to justify and show finance why the ROI and what the ROI is for a purchase. I'm going to cite a study here with this is from PwC. PwC, this is PricewaterhouseCoopers. They interviewed 1,800 CFOs, and in the interview process, they asked the CFOs what they were doing during and after the Rona. And here's what they came up with. 82% of the CFOs were cutting CapEx expenditures in facilities, right? Workforce was next, operations next, and IT was fourth. Essentially, I know that everybody that is in the IT organization reading this statistic, it's IT, right? Well, if you look further down the list here, what aren't CFOs cutting, right? They're not cutting digital transformation or customer experience. And they're also not cutting security. So it's interesting, where does digital transformation take place, right? And customer experience take place? It all lives and resides around the WAN. That's where digital transformation takes place, is in the WAN. And you can't transform your organization off of old legacy antiquated WANs. It requires cloud-ready networks and SD-WANs in order for you, enable you to experience digitization. And so we're going to leave this as a backdrop here through our conversation. But that's what Complete Communications does, is we build ROIs. So we show customers how much money they save by implementing a Citrix secure SD-WAN offering. On average, the ROIs that we build for customers are 40 to 60% a month on the WAN, with the 6 to 12 month payback model and required infrastructure. And we're transport agnostic as well. We work with pretty much every provider, every carrier on a global basis. We just try to determine where a customer is today, where they're going, and then we roadmap the most cost-effective, efficient way to get you there. It could be China Telecom, Verizon, Comcast, Tata. It doesn't matter. We just try to find the right fit for you. Anything that touches that telephony umbrella, we can help with as well. So SIP trunking, all the way down to data center site selection, procurement, everything in between, including potentially a fully managed as a service offering with Citrix as well, if that's the way you need to consume it. As you look at an SD-WAN environment, right, the number one application that runs off of an SD-WAN solution is voice and collaboration. I mean, obviously, to get you closer to the cloud, but the number one application that we see from an addressability standpoint is voice. What am I going to do with my voice? How am I going to address my voice? How am I going to control the quality? So when you're looking at SD-WAN, it's important to look from a technology standpoint at a more holistic view at SD-WAN, data center collaboration. We work with pretty much every collaboration provider out there as well, with and Citrix to ensure that you have the best offering. But also, what that enables you to do from a customer standpoint and from our capabilities, it allows you to stack the ROIs. So you can build an ROI on SD-WAN. My mouse is performing a vanishing trick, so I was trying to circle SD-WAN there. So you can build an ROI on SD-WAN. You can build an ROI on collab on data center. You can stack the ROIs. We worked on an opportunity with a customer based in the United States in the South. It was around 400 locations. It was a large opportunity. Brought in SD-WAN as the foundation, overlaid collaboration on top. We were able to save that customer roughly 2.8 million annually on their carrier services by leveraging the technology effectively, right? So we were able to show significant cost savings there. We were able to identify fiber map providers, lit buildings of carriers, any type of connectivity, which cable companies that can service the location, LTE, 3G, 4G, satellite, fixed, wireless. So we can do this globally, and we can identify diversification in your network, last mile diversification, routes, lit buildings. So any way and every way you need to connect, any type of connectivity, we can help you achieve and do that. And then day two, we have overlay services that we can give the customer a single bill, a really lifecycle management of your connectivity, one number to call for support, proactive, reactive trouble ticket management. Again, in conjunction with Citrix, if you need a fully managed as a service offering, we can look at that if that's a way that you need to consume it. We can give you all sorts of analytics and metrics into your spend. We have a watchdog product that will actually track your spend to make sure it's correct. If it's not correct, we'll proactively get credits back from the carriers as well. So let me show you how we do this. And okay, my mouse is back, so I can see where I'm at now. Okay, so you're seeing my browser here. Just make sure, yeah, you're seeing my browser. Okay, this is an example of a customer that has 100 locations. This customer is 2/3 international, 1/3 domestic. So we go out and globally identify all the underlying providers and carriers that meet, match, and marry the customer requirements based off of circuit type, bandwidth, diversification, again, MPLS, broadband, dual internet, it doesn't matter. All this data I can drill down onto as well. So for instance, Integra Telecom, which is now owned by Zayo, they win 4 locations. And off to the left here is the locations that they win. And a win is defined based off of meeting your individual requirements at the best price point. To the right here is customer provided data, current speed and spend. And then in yellow is the proposed new speed and spend, leveraging a transport agnostic solution that Citrix brings to the table. You can see here 20 megs, $2,000, 20 megs, $399, 20 megs, $2,200, 20 megs, $399, 40 megs, $1,200, 40 megs, $499. And again, this is all based off the agnostic transport purchase capabilities that a Citrix solution brings to the table in conjunction with our ability to identify the underlying providers and carriers that meet your requirements. Based off your requirements, all these carriers would change up top, based off of circuit type, diversification, SLA, speed. If I wanted to see what AT&T had at that location, or Level 3, or CenturyLink, which is now Lumen, I can drill down and see what they have there as well. Now watch what happens here. When I amortize all this data over these 100 locations, here's the output. So here's the BOM in the top left, everything required for this customer to successfully deploy an SD-WAN solution. The customer's current monthly spend on their WAN prior to a technology investment is $246K. Once they buy and invest in the required infrastructure and then do what we tell them to do, they propose new spend is $98K with a monthly OpEx cost savings of $148K. Annual $1.8 million, 3-year $5.3 million, and a 5-year $8.9 million with a 4.3-month payback model on the required infrastructure. So again, on average, when we build these assessments, we provide the blueprint, carrier architecture, build the ROI, and when we do that, on average, we're showing a verifiable and quantifiable 40 to 60% a month savings just on the WAN, anywhere from a 4 to 12-month payback model on the required infrastructure. And then if you bring in a third-party financing mechanism or a Citrix finance solution, in OpEx, the technology, we can show you day one cost savings with zero out of pocket. So if we go back to what I was referencing earlier in the call as well, the PwC study, where finance is cutting CapEx expenditure. They're cutting OpEx expenditure. They're not cutting digitization or customer experience or security. So through a transport agnostic Citrix SD-WAN solution, in conjunction with our capabilities here, we can show a customer, and you have the capabilities to show finance, zero out of pocket, huge OpEx cost savings, provide the necessary foundation and platform for digitization and customer experience, all fully secured. So we hit all the requirements that finance has, and then provide you as a business what you need to support the end customer and the internal customer, the external customer and the internal customer. So huge opportunities. And just so you know, we've worked on thousands of SD-WAN opportunities, and this is the common outcome, right? I'm not showing you a one, on the bell curve far right, example. We work on thousands of SD-WAN opportunities and have seen, every time essentially the same types of outcome. And if you think about where your expenses lie in your IT organization, your number one expense, always number two in the IT organization on a monthly basis is carrier services, right? It's carrier services. The only time carrier services is not number one is when internal headcount, IT headcount, is more expensive. So carrier services is always number two, many, many times number one. By leveraging the technology effectively, we can cut those expenses in half essentially, right? And a service provider, they can't do this and they won't do this. no carrier has the capabilities to do what we can do, nor will they come in and say, hey, you've been such a great customer for the past 3 years. You've been spending $100 grand or $50 grand a month with us. We want to drop your bill down to $25K. We really appreciate you. It's not going to happen, right? And unless you have analytics and visibility into what's happening out there, you could potentially think you're getting a good deal from a service provider. But this is what's possible when you leverage technology effectively. And again, the way many customers are purchasing SD-WAN through a service provider, I mean, 90% of an SD-WAN deal is connectivity. 10% is technology. And if you don't have the visibility, many times what happens is the 90 pulls through the 10. And you let the circuits dictate the decision on the technology. But what SD-WAN was meant to do, and what you have the possibility to do by leveraging it effectively, you need to purchase your circuits based off of the technology. You need the 10% to tell you and dictate where that 90% should go. And then everything I've shown you here as well, we do the same thing on voice. And voice services, SIP trunking assessments, hosted collaboration assessments, and again, we can stack that on top as well. So huge opportunity to see what's possible by leveraging Citrix transport agnostic solution when you have the right tools and capabilities. And then day 2, let me share this with you here. Day 2, we project manage the entire implementation for you. We prepare, process, procure all the paperwork with all the underlying providers and carriers. We track the whole order process for you. You can drill down on each location and see which locations you have with which carriers. We give you all sorts of analytics and metrics to your installation timelines. We hold everybody accountable. We hold the customer accountable, our team and the carrier accountable. We can drill down on each location and see the entire history of notes. We track construction, demarc extension, right of entry. And this right here, this is actually how we get paid and how we make money, right? Typically what we do is we build the assessments, we build the ROI, and then we project manage the entire implementation for free. And you can work with an existing partner on the Citrix solution as well. And how we make money is the service providers pay us an outsourced project management fee to herd all the cats, to make sure the customer's ready, the carrier's ready. Inevitably, when we're dealing with tens, hundreds, thousands of sites, things that blow up, we'll get it put back on track. In the event that a particular service provider can't install a circuit for a multitude of reasons, then we'll identify alternative connection options that meet your budgetary, bandwidth, and diversification requirements as close as possible. But unlike a service provider that sells you a circuit, hits a quote, and moves on to the next deal, we don't get paid a dime until those circuits are installed, up and running, billing and working properly, just like you don't receive any application performance improvements, cost savings, speed enhancements till your circuits are installed. We don't realize revenue either. So our financial interests align with our customer financial interests to make sure timelines are being met. And if they're not being met, you know that you have a dog in the fight. We're pushing as hard and as fast as possible. And while I'm thinking of it here, from a work from home standpoint, since there was a lot of questions around that in the survey, there's different connectivity options from a work from home standpoint. There's different broadband options with the cable companies, business class versus residential, different benefits doing one or the other. And we happily would run through all that with you and talk about the pros and cons as well. And then day 2, from a support standpoint, if needed, not required, we have I'm logged in, not logged in here, something happened, but you can still see everything. That we have an overlay solution. We can overlay a single bill, one number to call, one throat to choke, proactive, reactive trouble ticket management. So allow you to cherry pick the service providers, but still have a single support type methodology on the back end. SD-WAN is all about flexibility and flexibility management. And however flexible your organization can be or cannot be, we can customize a solution to meet your needs and requirements. We're not a service provider. We don't give you a box and say, here's a box, fit in this box, you want to do business with us. We give you a box of Legos that builds a custom solution day 1 and day 2. So if you need single bill, one throat to choke technology contracts in conjunction with Citrix. We can architect a solution that way. If you want to cherry pick the carriers, you're going to manage it yourself, that's fine too. Or if you want something in between where, hey, you're good at managing it, but you want one throat to choke and a single bill, that's a possibility as well. Any way and every way you want to consume an SD-WAN solution, we can help you do that. I'm just making sure we covered everything. There's the collaboration dashboard. We talked about the different models there, the fully managed, hybrid, or unmanaged. But thank you for the time today to chat. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you. And I will pass the mic here to my colleague Greg, and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Thanks, Blake. All right, folks. If you are implementing SD-WAN as a standalone solution, then everything you've seen from Blake and Jamel is probably exactly what you need. But if you are adding SD-WAN to a larger Citrix environment, I want to show you how we approach the business value of that total environment. So we're going to look at the business value assessment structure that we run at Citrix. So what a business value assessment does is it identifies the advancements that the technology brings to your goals. We'll talk about how we line that up in just a moment. And of course, it justifies the investment and enables you to compare it to any alternative investments you might make. We can only offer it to a select set of customers because we only have a few people that run these kinds of things. But if you are lucky enough to get a BVA run, you can replace a lot of other engagements that other vendors could also run: business consulting, cloud economics, strategic advisory groups. These are the same kinds of business value assessments that we also do. So when we're doing these BVAs, we look both at IT efficiency goals. Those are very important, of course, but we extend into end user effectiveness as well. We talk about what your streamlined, resilient environment gets you and productivity and end user workflows. So that is customizable by industry and by user group. Let's get into how that works. So the way that works is, I want to talk to you about just what goals and initiatives you have, and we'll even bring some points of view about other peers in your industry and what the industry is doing in general, and take into account specific growth strategies you have. We'll look at your value chain and your workflows, because we have consultants that did that for a living before they came to Citrix. So we can identify the areas of opportunity where the technology, the whole stack, will have the most benefit for you. Then, of course, we'll detail what that technology is, SD-WAN and other components together and how they work together. And then we have financial models. And Blake was just showing you some of those, and we can extend and build on top of those to give you the whole stack financial model. What that looks like is we start with the planning of everything we just talked about, what your scope is, kind of who we'll talk to, what workflows we'll look at, and we pass an SOW light document back and forth. Not really a statement of work, but close enough to kind of scope what we're trying to accomplish and achieve with you. Then we come and talk to your people in these specific workflows about things I'll show you in just a minute, about how the technology is used and how it's enabled. Gather our data, come back with some models about how we're helping you to push forward on the initiatives you have and where those areas of opportunities are. And we can even refine that. So we can take a couple shots at that, get feedback from you, figure out exactly how you want it presented. So that's it. That's our overall process. It can be performed in as little as 2-3 weeks overall. Again, we're looking at a pretty large stack, and we can be talking to a lot of people in those 1 or 2 days as well. The kinds of people we talk to, well, 3 groups: leadership and initiative sponsors, IT, of course, and any end users we think that you want to know what the impact of the technology is on those end users and the workflows. And in general, it looks like this. We'll talk about your measurables, goals and metrics. We'll detail your workflows, especially interaction with technology. We'll figure out exactly how it's presently deployed and what the changes are going to be in your future environment. And of course, we'll take any points of view that you have. We don't want to miss anything, suggestions and insights that you're trying to achieve. And what we quantify, this is the category that Blake was just talking about in great detail. Expense reductions, of course, that's important. And when we look at the whole stack, we can go a little further. We can talk risk reduction. That's about preventing outages, downtime, breaches, losses, fines, fees. basically costs that you can't plan for, that aren't budgeted, but can happen from time to time. But when we look at the end users, we're really trying to help you on this side as well. We look at productivity. Productivity has a reduction side and has a growth side. So on the growth side, we want to talk about once you've got your environment and your stack resilient, automated, and supporting your end users, what is it they can do they couldn't do before? What is more resilient? What time opportunities they have, and how are they going to use that new environment in a productive way? And then if you can do that, what can your whole organization do that it couldn't do before? And these are things like being an employer of choice, speeding up mergers and acquisitions, running joint ventures, all sorts of things that you couldn't do or couldn't do as well before your environment was streamlined and resilient. So these are the categories that we look at when we are assessing the total impact of the total stack on your environment. So when we run one of these, you get back a couple things. You get an alignment between your goals, the operational hurdles and opportunities, and the tech. We qualify that as is and to be gap and collect evidence of the interviews. We outline the value cases in those 4 categories I just mentioned, starting with what Blake detailed. And then you get an overall model that you can tweak and use going forward in understanding how you're achieving those benefits, and you can count them. So that's it, folks. That is the next step in building the business case for SD-WAN and overall Citrix environment. Carol, that's all I've got. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, we have quite a few. There is one last polling question we want to go ahead and ask the audience before we go into the Q&A. We're really interested in understanding where our customers are in terms of their interest in SD-WAN. So what would you say is the stage in the buying process that you're in right now when it comes to an SD-WAN solution? Have you not started and you're simply just interested in investigating about what SD-WAN is, how it works? Are you researching? You have a project and you're really in that research mode? Are you evaluating an SD-WAN vendor right now or vendors? Have you already selected an SD-WAN vendor? And then finally, have you implemented an SD-WAN and just looking for best practices? So if you could please select one of those answers, and then we'll go into our Q&A. All right, I'll go ahead and close the poll. And let's see if the people polled. It looks like the highest is 57% of those polled said that they are evaluating SD-WAN vendors right now, followed by 29% who said they're in research mode. And finally, 14% of the audience says they've implemented already an SD-WAN. So thanks everyone for answering that. And we did get some questions from the audience. So I'm just going to kind of go from the top down here. It says, my MPLS provider is already offering me an SD-WAN. How is Citrix SD-WAN different? Jamel, do you want to take that one?
Sure, Carol. So the first way in which we're different is we partner with the carrier. We partner with the carriers because they partner with different SD-WAN, with different SD-WAN vendors. So when carriers offer free SD-WAN to keep you, as Blake alluded to, you still have to pay for it. It's kind of a shell game that's going on. They also give you the least amount of features to stay sticky to them because they want to get to the next contract and hold you in for another 3 years plus. So you got to buy the circuit and sign that contract. Also, oftentimes, the level of installation and is kind of missed, as well as the configuration and management complexity and cost. So getting to those remote sites, what type of SD-WAN solution, voice, video, all these different components, the cloud access, all these things have to be taken into account when deploying an SD-WAN. And also MPLS won't necessarily help you get to the cloud. And again, when you get locked in with contracts, which is probably what you would like to avoid in the first place. So we want to help you, as Blake talked about, use the 10% to dictate the 90% and not the other way around. So you can truly realize those cost savings.
Thank you, Jamel. This next question I think is for Blake. It says, how much do you charge for your services, and do you do this globally?
Yeah, so short answer is yes, we do it globally. And then how much we charge for our services is, like I mentioned earlier, right? Typically a free service. We build the assessment, the ROI, and then project manage the install. How we make money with the carriers. The carriers pay us an outsourced project management fee. One thing real quick too on top of that I don't think I mentioned here is what we need. What we need to build the assessments are address and phone number, Excel format, current speed and spend to build the ROI, and then any diversification or speed enhancements the customer might need. And then US-based assessments take us ballpark 10, 14 days. International-based assessments take us ballpark 14 to 28 days.
Okay, great. Thank you. I apologize. We have two more people that have joined us to answer Q&A. So we have Charlie Todd from the SD-WAN sales team, as well as Tony Beal. So thank you so much for joining us. This next question I think actually may be good for you, Charlie. It says, we're not sure we want to manage the SD-WAN ourselves. Do you offer manage SD-WAN? I believe that's a Citrix question. Charlie, can you take that one?
I'd love to. And absolutely. This is a question that comes up pretty often. And the good news is Citrix offers a variety of ways to deploy Citrix SD-WAN tailored to meet your unique needs. And we allow you the option of DIY or have a managed service provider manage it for you. And within the vast Citrix SD-WAN managed service provider ecosystem, you can find partners who specialize in a multitude of network services for enterprises with global and even regional focused requirements, including network connectivity, migration, integration, security, WAN up, and more to help implement anything needed within the managed solution of SD-WAN.
All right, thank you. Another question here is asking about I think this is Blake, a question for you. Do you help with existing contracts with carriers and providers? Is there anything you can do for us with existing contracts? Blake?
Yeah, so that's a common obstacle that we help customers overcome is contractual relationships with carriers. We have a whole playbook and a strategy around that as far as buyout from other carriers, third-party buyout options, where are you at in your commit. So we take all those things into consideration to help you take advantage of the cost savings as fast as possible based off your individual solutions that you're in.
All right, thank you. We're seeing a lot of questions around security. This one is asking, security is top of mind for our company right now. Can Citrix, can you tell us a little bit more on how your SD-WAN addresses this? Tony, is that something you could take?
Yeah, this is Tony. I can take that. So an important part of Citrix SD-WAN solution is that we are a bookended solution. And that being the case is that we have an awareness of how the WANs are traversing the network, all the paths that we're using. We provide AES encrypted 128/256-bit encryption. And so you have a secure tunnel from end to end. And top that off, so that makes it great for getting back to the data center between branches. But for the breakouts, which is what we're seeing a big part of, we've got a stateful firewall that provides you a secure stateful breakout. And we also provide easy access to secure web gateways so that basically just punch a link and you're jumping up to Zscaler, Palo Alto. We've all integrated that with various APIs. So the security of the tunnel between the sites is locked down. The breakout, we provide the security mechanisms to handle to get you out there. And we recently have deployed an advanced edition security stack with our SD-WAN solution. So we got you covered on the security path.
Great, thank you so much. I think this next question is for Greg. It says, what is the average cost of a BVA professional services project? Is it project-based, or what other pricing model do you guys offer? Greg?
Yeah, it is project-based. The great majority, if we can keep them to a day or two in our initial gathering, are going to be no charge, but that's got to be aligned to obviously a strategic large project. If they go over that, then we have to start putting an actual statement of work together.
All right, thank you. Here's a question about Office 365. You mentioned Office 365, but can't other vendors also do Office 365 breakout? Charlie, is that you? Can you take that one?
Sure thing. The answer is yes, they can, but we do it best. And as Jamel mentioned previously, we have a strong relationship partnership with Microsoft. It's spanned over 3 decades now, and our SD-WAN enables O365 detection and adds firewall rules automatically. In addition, we have the most simplest workflow Microsoft has ever seen from an SD-WAN vendor. On top of that, we have integration through Azure Virtual WAN, which enforces Office 365 policies from the Azure Resource Center.
All right, and I think we have time for one more. This one is, in our company, what if we have enough bandwidth, that's not an issue for us. I'm not really sure if SD-WAN is still necessary. I'm not sure if that's a question or a comment.
This is Tony. I can take that one. So, one of the key things with SD-WAN is, and the fact that I mentioned that we are a bookended solution, we know how those WANs are performing. So you have various applications, your voice-sensitive applications, your video applications, your bulk traffic. So we provide a QoS mechanism that allows you to make sure that those critical applications, those critical voice calls always get through. Yes, as far as the big plus that you get with this great QoS, you're not having to, buy into an MPLS provider, where that's typically how you got those SLA agreements, is going with MPLS. But we can do that over broadband as well as MPLS together, so that we kind of take over that need that before all you could do is get it from the MPLS provider. So we have the ability to make sure that those pipes are utilized. We take the lowest latency pipe. Real-time traffic gets out of the chute first, and then you're interactive. And you have ability to, break that out into different classes. Makes it really nice for doing any type of troubleshooting of various applications that might be having issues with. You can put those into unique classes and see how they're performing. The other key thing, in addition to the QoS, is that we have a DPI engine on our appliance, on all of our appliances. And the deep packet inspection DPI engine that we've got allows us to be able to identify various traffic, so that if I've got Netflix or Facebook or social type media type applications, I can put them into a lower class. If I've got, voice type applications, so I've got this DPI engine that exists again on every appliance, and allows me to categorize that traffic and prioritize it across the link. I worked with a college here out in North Carolina, and one of the things they did is they broke all their social media applications into a bulk class, so that during the day the business traffic always got the QoS it needed, but at night, as far as from an SD-WAN perspective, the bandwidth is there, let them use it. So we were able to identify that traffic and lock it down so that it didn't impair the business traffic. And that's a key component of SD-WAN, is that you have the resiliency. We support up to 8 public links as well as up to 32 private links. So we can bond any number of paths together. We give you lots of bandwidth. We give you lots of QoE experience metrics. We can do MOS scoring that allows you to see how those applications, because it's not just, hey, you say you can do it, but show me you can do it. Show me the MOS scoring. Show me the QoE deliverable. And, and then it makes you a believer. And once you get into that comfort zone, then you're like, okay, I got it. I see this SD-WAN.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who participated now. For those of you who had hung in there, How can you win that Ember mug? All we're asking for you guys to do is at the end of this presentation, you will get a pop-up for a 5-question survey. We're really interested in hearing what you thought of this content and what future content you would like to see from Citrix. So fill out that survey, and we will, whoever completes it, we will randomly select one person to ship out that Amber mug. Only rules that apply are please no Citrix employees, and please you must be located in the U.S. or Canada. Once again, thanks everyone who joined us. Thank you to Blake, to Jamel, to Greg, to Charlie, Tony. We hope you guys benefited from the information we shared and that you join us next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.